boycotting the upcoming World Cup games in the U.S. The local World Cup committee has been expecting hundreds of thousands of visitors to travel to the Metro when the matches kick off in 5 months.
Calls are growing louder in the United Kingdom for England and Scotland to boycott the 2026 FIFA World Cup that is set to be co-hosted by the United States in months from now.
The German politician Jürgen Hart, a member of the Christian Democratic Union, has raised the idea of a potential World Cup boycott in a German newspaper.
The countdown to the 2026 World Cup was meant to celebrate football's global reach. A historic tournament across the United States, Canada, and Mexico, expanding to 48 teams and 104 matches for the first time. Instead, controversy is gathering force. Petitions are spreading across Europe. Lawmakers are openly discussing withdrawal. Former FIFA leaders are urging fans to stay home. What should have been a festival of sport is now entangled in immigration crackdowns, military operations, and accusations that the world's biggest tournament is drifting into political theater. The central question is no longer about tactics or favorites, but whether the event can unfold without becoming something far more divisive. In the Netherlands, more than 150,000 citizens signed a petition urging their national team to boycott the 2026 World Cup in the United States. The petition, launched by a prominent journalist, argues that participation could turn players into unwilling symbols of a political campaign. It has become one of the largest football-related civic petitions in Dutch history, reflecting how deeply the issue has penetrated public debate. The Royal Dutch Football Association, KNVB, has stopped short of endorsing a boycott and says it is monitoring developments. Still, the pressure continues to mount. Germany is facing similar tensions. CDU lawmaker Jürgen Hart has publicly suggested that Germany reconsider its participation. The German Football Association has rejected a boycott for now, but internal debate persists. Hans-Joachim Watzke, vice president of the DFB and chairman of Borussia Dortmund, has called for serious reflection. A survey of 1,000 Germans found that 47% would support a boycott if the United States were to annex Greenland, underscoring how foreign policy rhetoric has begun to influence sporting sentiment. France has taken a more measured stance. The president of the French National Olympic and Sports Committee, Amélie Diacastre, has said that a boycott is not currently under consideration. Belgium has focused on preparation and avoided political commentary. In the United Kingdom, Conservative MP Simon Clarke has urged England, Scotland, and Wales to boycott in order to politically embarrass Donald Trump, while Liberal Democrat MP Tim Farron has argued that public pressure may be the only leverage available. In France, Eric Coquerel of La France Insoumise has proposed transferring hosting duties entirely to Canada and Mexico. Across Europe, the debate has moved beyond sports pages and into parliamentary chambers. Former FIFA president Sepp Blatter has entered the discussion after years of relative silence, backing Swiss lawyer Mark Pietha's call for fans to avoid traveling to the United States for the tournament. His intervention carries symbolic weight, not because he holds authority, but because it highlights how unusual this moment appears even to longtime observers of football governance. The backlash extends beyond sport. Immigration enforcement in the United States has intensified, with expanded travel restrictions affecting several countries expected to compete in the tournament. Reports of stricter visa scrutiny have circulated widely. During preparations for the 2025 Club World Cup, members of Iran's delegation reportedly struggled to secure visas, with only 4 of 9 officials granted entry for the December draw. Incidents involving asylum seekers detained near MetLife Stadium during that tournament heightened concerns about how visiting supporters might be treated in 2026. For fans traveling from Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, uncertainty over entry procedures and the risk of detention has become part of the conversation. Yet, immigration policy alone does not explain the depth of European anger. Broader geopolitical tensions have amplified it. Donald Trump has repeatedly threatened to seize Greenland, an autonomous territory of Denmark and a NATO ally. He has proposed 10% tariffs on goods from Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Finland. He has suggested that Canada could become the 51st state and warned of potential military action against Mexico. The most dramatic escalation came on January 3rd, 2026, when Operation Absolute Resolve unfolded in Venezuela. According to official statements, more than 150 U.S. military aircraft were deployed. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife were captured and flown to New York for trial. 32 Cuban soldiers were reportedly killed while attempting to defend Maduro. The United States announced that it would administer Venezuela. International reaction was swift and sharply divided. Supporters described it as decisive intervention. Critics characterized it as the unilateral detention of a sitting head of state and a dangerous breach of international norms. Against that backdrop, the 2026 World Cup began to look less like a sporting event and more like a geopolitical stage. In March 2025, the White House established a task force dedicated to the FIFA World Cup 2026. Donald Trump was named chair. Vice President J.D. Vance became vice chair. Andrew Giuliani, son of Rudy Giuliani, was appointed executive director. FIFA President Gianni Infantino became a regular presence at the White House. The symbolism intensified in July 2025 at the Club World Cup final. Trump had kept the tournament trophy in the Oval Office since March. When Chelsea won the final on July 13th, they were presented with a replica, while the original remained in Washington. Trump stayed on the podium during the celebration, even as Infantino appeared to gesture for him to step aside. Players such as Cole Palmer and Reece James looked uncertain as the ceremony unfolded. Trump took a medal and slipped it into his suit pocket. The images circulated widely, reinforcing the perception that football's global showcase was being folded into a political narrative. Infantino's conduct has also drawn scrutiny. He was at Mar-a-Lago on election night in November 2024 and attended Trump's inauguration on January 20th, 2025, speaking about working together to make not only America great again, but the entire world. FIFA opened an office inside Trump Tower in July 2025. On December 5th, 2025, at the World Cup draw, Infantino presented Trump with the inaugural FIFA Peace Prize titled Football Unites the World. The award was created shortly after Trump brokered a Congo-Rwanda peace agreement and days after renewed threats regarding Greenland. Several FIFA Council members reportedly learned of the prize through a press release. Human rights group Fair Square filed a complaint with FIFA's Ethics Committee. Infantino defended the decision, saying Trump objectively merited recognition. He later announced that Trump would personally present the World Cup trophy to the champions on July 19, 2026. For critics, the optics are unsettling. Each match risks being interpreted through a political lens. Every ceremony becomes another moment of association. The concern voiced across Europe is not that sport is political in principle, but that it could be used as a promotional instrument during a period of volatile foreign policy. History offers precedent, though none identical. The United States led a boycott of the 1980 Moscow Olympics to protest the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. For years later, the Soviet Union and several allies retaliated by boycotting the 1984 Los Angeles Games. Those actions fractured the Olympic movement and left athletes caught in geopolitical conflict. Whether the 2026 World Cup will face a similar rupture remains uncertain. For now, national federations continue preparations, teams focus on qualification, and stadium construction advances. But the atmosphere surrounding the tournament has shifted. Instead of anticipation alone, there is apprehension. Instead of pure sporting debate, there is political calculation. The world's most watched competition is approaching. Yet the argument about its meaning may prove as consequential as the matches themselves. Invasion of Afghanistan. The Soviet Union did not withdraw, and many American athletes lost what would have been their only chance to compete on that stage. During the 1978 World Cup in Argentina, staged under a military dictatorship, fierce debate centered on whether participation conferred legitimacy on the regime. German legend Paul Breitner cautioned that athletes should not become instruments in political contests. In 2018, the tournament proceeded in Russia following the annexation of Crimea. In 2022, Qatar hosted despite sustained criticism over labor conditions and migrant worker deaths. FIFA has since awarded the 2034 World Cup to Saudi Arabia amid continuing human rights concerns. Supporters of the 2026 World Cup argue that consistency matters. If previous tournaments moved forward despite controversy, isolating this edition risks appearing selective. They point out that 48 teams from every continent are preparing for the largest expansion in tournament history. Broadcasters, sponsors, apparel brands, and national federations have committed significant resources. FIFA projects roughly $10 billion in revenue and more than 290,000 jobs generated in the United States alone. 78 matches are scheduled across U.S. cities, with 13 in Canada and 13 in Mexico. Contracts are finalized. Infrastructure is advancing. The Washington Post has assessed the probability of a comprehensive boycott as extremely low. Yet, financial scale does not settle the argument. Canada and Mexico occupy delicate positions. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney faces rhetoric about annexation emanating from Washington. Mexican officials have voiced concern over threats of unilateral military action. In the United States, some lawmakers have questioned whether strict immigration enforcement during the tournament could damage the country's global standing. Analysts warn that the operation in Venezuela may create rhetorical precedent for other powers to justify interventions elsewhere, citing Russia's actions in Ukraine or China's posture toward Taiwan. Human rights organizations, including Human Rights Watch, the ACLU, and the NAACP, have cautioned that global sporting spectacles can become vehicles for political messaging. They argue that protecting the rights and safety of players and supporters must remain central. Behind closed doors, football executives are balancing contractual obligations against reputational exposure. Public opinion remains fluid. Grassroots campaigns continue to gather support. Social media magnifies every visa issue, every diplomatic remark, every symbolic gesture. Some maintain that athletes should not bear the burden of geopolitical protest. Others respond that silence can be interpreted as acquiescence. The friction between principle and participation feels unusually acute. There are alternatives short of withdrawal. In 1978, Dutch player Wim Rijsbergen visited Plaza de Mayo in solidarity with families of the disappeared during Argentina's dictatorship. At Qatar 2022, members of Germany's national team covered their mouths in protest of the One Love armband ban. In the 1980s, Brazil's Corinthians club cultivated a democratic movement that challenged military rule from within the sport. Participation paired with visible dissent has precedent. World Cup 2026 carries exceptional symbolic weight. It spans 3 nations. It introduces an expanded format that reshapes the competition. It promises record revenues and unprecedented global reach. Yet it unfolds amid immigration crackdowns, tariff threats, territorial disputes, and a high-profile military intervention. It includes a White House task force chaired by the sitting president, a FIFA president closely aligned with that administration, and a public declaration that the trophy will be presented by Donald Trump himself on July 19, 2026. Whether European teams ultimately boycott or compete, the debate has already reshaped the landscape. Football federations are no longer insulated from foreign policy disputes. Supporters are examining visa policies alongside squad selections. Sponsors are evaluating reputational exposure in tandem with market expansion. The tournament's success may be judged not only by goals and attendance, but by whether it avoids deepening political fractures. The stakes extend beyond sport. Soft power has long been woven into opening ceremonies and host narratives. The current dispute raises a broader question about how far that influence can extend before it becomes overt political branding. Between June 11th and July 19th, 2026, the spotlight will illuminate more than tactics and celebrations. It will fall on governments, institutions, and the choices they make under pressure. The question now shifts outward. Should European teams withdraw if tensions intensify? Should they compete and use the stage to articulate their position before a global audience? Does a boycott constitute meaningful leverage, or does it unfairly penalize athletes who have prepared their entire lives for this opportunity? And if participation proceeds, what form might principled resistance take on football's